Jeremy Kyle took his seat at the inquest of former Jeremy Kyle Show guest Steve Dymond to answer questions after Steve took his own life 7 days after appearing on the controversial ITV show. Steve Dymond, 63, was found at his home in Portsmouth, Hampshire after filming for the Jeremy Kyle Show in May 2019. He had taken a lie detector test for the program after being accused of cheating on his partner, Jane Callahan. His son Carl Woolley told the inquest in Winchester his father felt he had been cast as the liar and was upset and being pounced on while recording the show. Carl also said Steve told him Jeremy had egged on the studio audience to boo him. Winchester Coroner's Court heard this week that Mr. Dymond died at his home from a combination of morphine overdose and left ventricular hypertrophy in his heart. Steve had a history of depression and was diagnosed with a depressive disorder in 1995. Opening proceedings on Wednesday, Coroner Jason Pegg listed the interested parties, ITV, the family which he said was at the heart of this case, and presenter Jeremy Kyle. On Thursday, the inquest was told that after filming for the episode had concluded, Mr. Dymond had told a researcher, "I wish I was dead." Winchester Coroner's Court also heard Mr. Dymond had said, "Life is nothing without Jane." The aftercare team contacted Mr. Dymond the day after filming to tell him counseling had been arranged for him. Messages about Steve Dymond's behavior read to inquest. ITV producers spoke about Jeremy Kyle Show guest Steve Dymond in a private message on the day of filming, his inquest has been told. One message from a producer on May 2, 2019, read, "Could you pop and see Mr. Dymond, who wants to meet you? Could be emotional, he's had tears in his eyes twice LOLX." Messages were allegedly sent both before and after filming the episode. Steve Dymond told Jeremy Kyle crew, "I wish I was dead" after filming show. Alleged text conversations between Jeremy Kyle producers following the filming of Steve Dymond's episode claim the guest told them, "I wish I was dead." The inquest was read a message from a private WhatsApp conversation from after the filming of the episode, which said, "Just so you know, he's still crying," referring to Mr. Dymond. "I think it's still being in this room going around in circles. He just said, 'I wish I was dead,' just a heads up." The hearing was told Mr. Dymond was continuously talking to members of the production team and the aftercare nurses from the time the filming finished at around 12:45 p.m. to when he left the studio at 2:30 p.m. Jeremy Kyle leaves court after giving evidence. Jeremy Kyle was seen leaving Winchester Coroner's Court in Hampshire after giving evidence in the inquest into the death of 63-year-old Steve Dymond. It's believed Mr. Dymond killed himself 7 days after filming for the ITV's The Jeremy Kyle Show in May 2019. During the inquest, the court was shown footage from the show in which Dymond appeared which never aired on ITV. The station made the decision to pull Kyle's hit show forever after hearing about Steve's death. ITV producers joked about Steve Dymond crying. ITV producers joked about tragic Jeremy Kyle Show guest Steve Dymond crying. His inquest heard today. The inquest heard how one member of the program's team said in a private WhatsApp group that Mr. Dymond had tears in his eyes twice LOLX. It was also said Mr. Dymond was continuously crying after he was allowed to leaving following the end of filming. The inquest heard he left after telling a producer, "I wish I was dead." Jeremy Kyle quizzed Steve Dymond about giving partner orgasms. Maya Sicken KC, representing Mr. Dymond's family, asked Mr. Kyle if he had been belittling over his handling of Mr. Dymond during the recording. She quoted Mr. Kyle asking Mr. Dymond, "Did it bother you that she didn't have an orgasm, or are you a typical male and do not give a toss?" She said Mr. Dymond responds, "I can't remember when," with Mr. Kyle continuing, "You are lying again, aren't you? You can't remember when she did." She said Mr. Dymond then says, "I cross my heart," then Mr. Kyle says, "Just give me the results." Ms. Sickand asked Mr. Kyle, "This is pretty belittling, isn't it?" He replied, "I wouldn't agree with you. I would say it's the part. From the beginning I had a joke with him. He did get upset, but he wasn't upset from the beginning. That's the journey, and that's the way the Jeremy Kyle Show was." Jeremy Kyle's double security blanket over Steve Dymond aftercare. Jeremy Kyle's barrister, Neil Sheldon KC, now questions the TV host. He asks him if he was asked if he should handle Mr. Dymond with any more care than other guests, and he says he was not. Although Mr. Kyle notes he was aware that Mr. Dymond had repeatedly tried to come onto the show but that the aftercare team had declined his request until he had more help. Mr. Kyle says, "That gave me the double security blanket if you like." Asked by Mr. Sheldon KC to explain that he says, "I had complete faith in the production teams and the aftercare teams after 15 years. He went away desperate to come and went back to his GP. I had the security of the production team and the security if the GP passing him."